All right, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle a massive question today, one that's probably on the mind of every single tech leader. We're all told AI is this magic bullet for engineering productivity, right? But how do you actually know it's working? It's time to toss out the old playbook. So let's get into it. And really, this is the question that cuts right to the chase, isn't it? Your developers are using AI tools, code is flying around, but are you actually delivering valuable stuff to your customers any quicker? Or are you just creating more churn, more busy work? This is the core problem we're going to unpack. For ages, the go-to metric, as flawed as it was lines of code. More lines meant more productivity. Simple. Well, AI just completely shatters that model. I mean, think about it. When an AI can spit out 1,000 lines of code for basically nothing, what's the point of even counting them anymore? It's totally meaningless. So what do? We have to find a new way to measure success. And look, this isn't about some minor adjustment to a dashboard. This is a fundamental shift in thinking. We absolutely have to stop measuring the volume of things being made, the sheer output, and start focusing on the value that's actually being delivered to the customer. So where do we even begin? Well, the first big piece of our new playbook is something called flow metrics. This is all about getting a real pulse on the health and the speed of your entire development process. From that first aha moment all the way to launch. Let's start with a really important one, lead time. This is pretty straightforward. It's the total time it takes for an idea to travel all the way into the hands of a user. Now, what's fascinating here is that AI should be making a huge dent in those middle two steps, the actual development and the testing. That's where you should see things speeding up. But lead time is just one part of the story. You've got two other pillars. There's flow velocity, which is basically your team's throughput, how much work they get done in a sprint. And then there's flow efficiency, which is super interesting. It measures how much time is spent actually doing work versus just sitting around waiting. Put these three together, and you get this incredibly powerful, holistic picture of how your team is really operating. Okay, so flow metrics are great for seeing the health of the whole system. But what about the AI tools themselves? How do we know if they're actually helping? Well, that brings us to our next set of measures, AI augmentation metrics. Now this might just be the single most important metric of them all for any AI coding tool, the AI code acceptance rate. It's so simple, right? It just asks one question. Are your developers actually using the code the AI suggests? If that number is high, boom, your tool is helping. If it's low, well then you've just bought a very expensive frustration machine that's creating a bunch of noise. And of course, we can get more granular. We can look at things like AI-assisted test coverage. Is the AI helping us write better tests and improve quality? And we can even track prompt efficiency. I love this one. It asks, is your team getting smarter about how they talk to the AI? Are they creating great prompts that everyone can reuse to work faster? So, we've covered the process, we've covered the tools, but we're missing the most important part of the equation, aren't we? The actual human developer. Because all the speed in the world doesn't matter if the people doing the work are on the fast track to burnout. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It says it all. Developer experience, or DevX, isn't some soft feel-good thing. It is a hardcore performance metric. If your developers are unhappy and frustrated, they are never, ever going to be fast or innovative. It doesn't matter how great your AI is. So how do we actually measure that? Well, we can look for a drop in cognitive load. Is AI handling all the boring, tedious stuff? We can measure if they're getting more deep work hours. Is AI helping them stay focused? And, maybe the most important thing, we can just ask them. Get their direct feedback with tool satisfaction scores. And this, right here, is what you want to see. The whole point of these AI tools should be to slash the amount of mental energy spent on busy work. Setting up a dev environment, hunting for some obscure piece of documentation. Free up that brainpower for solving the really tough, interesting problems. But hang on, there's a big flashing warning sign with all this speed. We absolutely cannot let AI-generated code drag down our quality. That's why the new playbook has to include an AI-powered quality gate, a smart, automated system that helps enforce our standards, not bypass them. And we can get really specific about this. We need to watch the defect escape rate. Is AI helping us find bugs before they get to customers? We need something like an AI code security score to automatically scan for vulnerabilities. We can even use AI to check if the code it just wrote actually follows the rules of our own architecture. Pretty cool, right? Okay. Phew. We've got flow metrics, AI metrics, DevX scores, quality checks. We have all this amazing new data. But data just sitting there on a dashboard, it's completely useless. So the last, and honestly the most critical step, is turning all that insight into actual action. This is what it's all about. This is the engine that drives improvement. You measure, you figure out what the numbers are telling you, you do something about it, and then you start the cycle all over again. It's a living, breathing process, not some static report you look at once a quarter. And here's what that looks like in the real world. You don't just notice that the AI acceptance rate dropped last week, you bring it up in your team meeting, your efficiency retro, and you ask why. Was the AI model off its game? Was the work just too complex for it? You use the data to spark a conversation, not to end one. And that really brings us to the core philosophy, the big idea behind this entire new playbook. It's about completely reframing why we measure anything at all. And there it is. This is the ultimate takeaway. We are not using these metrics to build some kind of big brother system to watch our developers. No way. The purpose here is to act like a doctor, to use these metrics as a diagnostic tool. We're looking for the bottlenecks, the friction points, the things that are slowing people down, so we can fix them. It's about empowerment, not monitoring. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this final thought. Your data, whether you're using the old metrics or the new ones, is telling you a story about how your team works, what frustrates them, and where they excel. The only question is, are you ready to stop counting and actually start listening to it?